But make no mistake, competition never gives up. And when you look at those two things, just the power of technology and the fierceness of competition, things will never ever be the same again. I'm sure you've been told about empowerment. Being able to get things done in record time, speed of execution, there is absolutely no substitute for it. But you know, that's over now, because people are not just talking about empowerment now, they're talking about interdependence. Being able to get done what you need to do and to be able to cooperate with anybody and everybody anywhere to get it done. You see, the reason you want to hold that net tight is because competition anywhere is competition everywhere. And because when we look at it, customer choice is really driving everything. It's all about the dollar. So I am the first to say that what I am giving you is very, very challenging, but it's nothing that's not like what you're going through on a daily basis. And so with that, I am going to say to you that if you feel like this is just awful and that you just can't do it, here's something easy for you. All you have to do is be counted on somebody's team and be quiet. Okay, you can do that. But you don't have a right to slow them down talking about how impossible it is, because we have about 300 people in here and somebody's going to make it happen. And so at the very least, we can at least be quiet and let those people make it happen. Mark was generating this sign announcing that the tape for this session would be available after the session. He was so proud of it, and he brought it into me, and he showed it to me, and there was a black hand, and there was a white hand, and there was a shaking hands. And when he looked at me, I looked horrified. And he said, "What's the matter?" I said, "You're going to a woman's conference, you're going to have two male hands here?" He said, "I never thought about it." I said, "Of course you didn't, and that's why we have diversity. You see the world through white male eyes, and you're supposed to. But when you put those two eyes together, we get to look at the world together, because the world doesn't look like me, it doesn't look like you, it looks like all of us." Now, had he... And I knew he had no intentions of offending anybody. So I suppose I'm saying to you that it happens, but it's not always intentional. I'm also saying to you that you don't want to let it operate your life. When I walked out of that room, I didn't like it. But I've learned a long time ago to just shake it off and pack it under. And in case you haven't heard that story on one of the tapes, it's about a mule and an old man. And this old man had this mule that he had had all of the mule's life. And one day he went to town, and when he came back, the mule had fallen into an old well that he had in his backyard. And he tried to get the mule out, and he tried to get the mule out, and he knew he couldn't get it out, but he could not bear to let the mule just die in that well. So he decided he was going to just bury the mule. So he started crying, and he was thinking about all of the work the mule had done over the years, and he was just shoveling dust in that well, just shoveling the dirt into the well, just crying. And after a couple of hours later, he looked up, and it was looking at him. And what had happened was the old man had given up on the mule, but the mule hadn't given up on himself. And every time he'd shovel in a shovel of dirt, the mule would shake it off and pack it under. And that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to understand that everything that's happening is not happening to you. You're going to have to understand that everybody, if you're a black person, understand that everybody that's white is not bad and everybody that's black is not good. And I can tell you, I have lived long enough to stand here and tell you that some of the biggest races in the world are black people, and some of the biggest sexes are women. We better start looking at universal appeal. We better learn how to get along with everybody without regard for race or sex or color or anything, because this is what's ruling the world: cash. And there are no big dollars, there are no little dollars, there are no black dollars, there are no handicapped dollars, there are no gay dollars, they're just dollars, they're just more dollars. And the only thing that we can do is make sure that we handle ourselves in a way to attract the most dollars. Revenue is what's ruling the world, nothing more and nothing less. It's going to be tough, but you need to look at it and you need to make a decision, because you're going to have to go over that line. What you need to do is not going to be safe. Trust me, if it's safe, it's being automated as we speak. You got to take the risk and step over, because until you step over, you don't know how close to it you could have gotten. And yes, you will make some mistakes. Yes, you will be ridiculed. Yes, you will be embarrassed. But you know what? You pull the lessons from those mistakes, and you will find that you will be celebrated. And the speaker said something this morning that I want to reiterate. Don't get all hung up on these promotions. Today, in today's climate, it's not about going up or down. It's in or out. If you're still in there, you're doing something meaningful, because when it's all over, there are only going to be a few good people. Be one of them. And go where you're sent. And don't be like a little dog on a railroad track. The little dog was crossing the railroad track, and before he could get his tail off the track, a fast train came and cut off the end of his tail. And he turned around and he was moaning over that little piece of tail. And then another train came and cut off his head. Now, the moral of that story is don't lose your head over a little piece of tail. Now, let me tell you what that looks like in the workplace. You've been with AT all these years. They were grooming you for vice presidency. When all the chips failed, they decided that instead of you moving up, you were going to take a lateral move. Now, what you didn't know is when they were talking about you, they were really talking about eliminating your job with you in it. But because you've been such a good employee, because your attitude had been so good, because you've done more than the minimum, and all these other kind of things, somebody came in for you. They said, no, she's a good person. Let's keep her. But let's put her over here and round her out a little bit more. And they did. Well, that was a little piece of tail. And when they came and told you about it, you decided they had really done it to you this time. And you were going to quit doing what you used to do. You were going to quit coming in early and staying late. You were going to just do your job. Well, there goes the head, and here comes the fast train because you're out of there. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not up or down. It's in or out. If you're in there, you have something of value. You need to understand that it's not what you do, it's what happens to you while you're doing it. As I leave, I want to remind you, every day you get up in that mirror and you look at yourself and you understand that you're the only person, you're the only one like this in the world. You owe it to yourself to find out why you're here. You owe it to yourself to find out why you're here. And if you have to get rid of everything you own to do it, you find out why you're here. You are in the right place this weekend. You are here for the right reason, and this is truly the right time. Thank you so much.
For Ivory Dorsey's availability, we invite you to call the number on the label of this video cassette.